Dante Certification Program Level 3. This module will take a deeper look at virtual local area networks, that is, VLANs. Before we get into how VLANs can be used in Dante networks, let's first take a look at their history. Originally, when IT managers wanted to segment a network, they would have to buy a different switch for each function. Which is okay as long as your groups were geographically similar to each other, and it was okay if you were using nearly all the ports on the switch. But real life is unfortunately not like that. What we ended up with were lots of switches with lots of empty ports, and nobody likes empty ports because it generally means wasted cache. So, creating separate physical LANs using multiple switches was not the best solution. So, how can we do this more efficiently? Well, the first step was to go and take one big switch and group ports together, so we can have port-based VLANs. We can connect all of the computers together using the green VLAN and run a cable up to the router. Then connect the computers of the blue VLAN together and run another cable up to the router and connect 3 computers up to the purple VLAN and connect that up to the router as well. This was great. We have somewhat solved our switch port problem. But we end up using a switch port from each virtual LAN to connect to the router, triplicating the cabling like shown in this example. This is a good start. We've saved some money on switches, but we can certainly do better. This is where the idea of a trunk port comes into play. That means we put a tag inside the traffic to indicate that this particular traffic belongs to this particular VLAN. VLAN tags work in this way. We are using the concept of encapsulation with the concept of VLANs. To work with VLANs, we have to tag frames with their requisite VLAN number. So, we're going to build an Ethernet frame in a device. Then, an Ethernet packet starts with the preamble consisting of a pattern of alternating ones and zeros, allowing devices on the network to easily synchronize their receiver clocks, providing bit-level synchronization. It is then followed by the SFD, Start of Frame Delimiter. This marks the start of the useful data and the end of the preamble. Next, we add the destination MAC address, followed by the source MAC address. Then, the ether type. This is used to indicate which protocol is encapsulated in the payload of the frame. Now the payload, all of the data. It contains the IP packet. The switch doesn't care about the IP address, the router does. Finally, a CRC block, that is, the cyclic redundancy check, so that errors can be detected. The frame now enters a switch port on the switch. The switch port is set to accept untagged frames, but is a member of a VLAN. The switch puts an 8021Q tag into the frame. The switch will allow the frame to leave through any port that's a member of the same VLAN. The switch will prevent the frame from leaving through any port that's not a member of the same VLAN. There are 4,096 possible VLAN tags under IEEE 8021Q. Typically, an edge device sends untagged frames. The switch will be set up to receive untagged frames on the interfaces these devices connect to. When an untagged frame enters an interface set to untagged in VLAN, the interface will apply the VLAN tag to that frame for its onward journey. The switch will only allow tags that match the VLANs to enter or leave its interfaces. What if we want to access ports in the same VLAN on another switch? We can create a port that's tagged with multiple VLANs. Cisco calls this a trunk, or multi-tagged connection that allows frames with different VLAN tags to use the same physical interface. Frames tagged with this VLAN are only able to leave the switch through these ports. Likewise, frames tagged with the other VLAN are only able to leave via these ports. Tagged ports do not remove the 8021Q tag, so traffic with different tags can be carried on the same physical connection. The essential thing to remember is when a tagged frame leaves a normal local access layer VLAN port, the tag is removed. In a trunk port, the tag is not removed. So that is why you have people talking about tagged and untagged or access and trunk. It's the same thing.